Thank you very much indeed, Richard. Yes, we've got a few questions coming through now. Some hopefully which are fairly straightforward that you can answer, and some I think are probably a little bit more complicated, but of course you can answer those as well. First of all, you said Balfour Beatty, the case there with the civil recovery action, that's the only case so far that you've gone down that route? That's right, but there are more in the pipeline.
There are more civil recovery cases that we are looking at. Balfour Beatty is the only one that we have taken to court so far, but there are others that we are looking at, and it may be in the coming months that there will be announcements about some more civil recovery work. It's an important weapon for the purposes of law enforcement, and there will be more to be seen soon, I've no doubt.
Right, thank you, Richard. And one that's come through on that, actually the practicalities, how are the civil recovery orders paid? How does that actually work, the mechanics? Do you know, is there a...
It depends in many ways on the type of proceedings, in the sense that if it's done by agreement, then what we would expect is that the individual company, the lawyers, would simply transfer the amount of the civil recovery order to central government, to the Serious Fraud Office. Alternatively, if there is a contest about this, then there are procedures and provisions within POCA whereby it's possible to appoint a trustee in order to be able to go and collect money that is going to be adequate to discharge the civil recovery order. And in certain types of cases where there is opposition, where there is need for us to apply for a trustee, that is what we would expect to do. And the trustee would then be responsible for going and collecting the money, administering the funds, and making sure that the civil recovery order is properly discharged.
Right, thank you, Richard. Another one, if you go for civil recovery against a company, if you like, or a settlement with a company, does that bind you in any way for going after individuals, for sort of criminal proceedings against individuals within that company if you do a settlement, or is there any chance that a trial against them would be prejudiced in any way? Does that...
We could apply for a civil recovery order against a company and investigate with a view to prosecute individuals. In Balfour Beatty, what was said in the public domain was that no prosecutions in respect of individuals would take place. There could be other cases where it is right for us to deal with the issues at the corporate level by way of a civil recovery order, but also to look for an investigation and a potential prosecution of individuals. For instance, let me just give you a possible example here where I think it may well be in the public interest for us to proceed in that way. And that could be where a company has found a number of irregularities committed by senior people, has dismissed the individuals, and is committed to a much stronger corporate culture. It may be that we will be looking possibly at a civil recovery order in respect of the company, but when we're talking about senior people involved in serious complex fraud or corruption, and I think particularly if they have benefited personally from the illegal activities, I think the public would expect us to look very seriously at whether or not those individuals should be subject to a criminal investigation themselves. And that's something we would certainly want to look at. We'll take a view on what the public interest requires and what would be appropriate, but it is something that we would certainly look at.